Ever since the Me Too movement, the topic of sexual harassment and assault has become quite widespread in our society. And many people would be able to tell you what the psychological and physical health effects of harassment is on a single person. What's not that well understood, however, is how the effects of harassment on a single person can radiate outwards and affect the larger society. In our study, we looked to explore how harassment propagates outwards to affect the larger society, and we did so by investigating changes to a victim's work behavior. Quite a few studies note that changes to work behavior is a common result of a person experiencing or being a bystander to harassment, but very few of the studies give specific examples of behavioral changes. If a person holds a job where they are interacting with the public or producing products that the public consumes, then changes to their work behavior could potentially lead to changes in the products that the public consumes. We focused on work behavior changes in the field of science popularization. Science popularization refers to people who communicate science to the general public or people without scientific backgrounds. Having a public that is well-versed in science is essential for a strong democracy, and so if the way science popularizers are communicating science to the public are changing because of harassment, that could have huge effects on our society due to it potentially shaping how people understand science. In our study, we focused specifically on the effects gender harassment has on science popularization behaviors. Gender harassment is the most common form of sexual harassment, and it refers to a broad range of behaviors not aimed at sexual cooperation, but conveying insulting, hostile, or degrading attitudes about members of a certain gender. The popularizers we interviewed identified female popularizers make several behavioral changes in response to gender harassment, including emphasizing their legitimacy as a communicator, being quite conscious of their clothing choices, and wary of engaging the public through mediums or topics that provoke more severe harassment. For example, in videos where the popularizer's face and voice can be seen and heard. Surprisingly, we did find that participants identified increased gender inclusivity in the creation of content, such as quoting more female sources or avoiding gendered stereotypes. And while seeing more attention to inclusivity is exciting, it by no means condones harassment as a method by which to achieve this result. These findings are an interesting beginning into exploring gender harassment in science popularization and science communication, but as a pilot study with a small sample size, we should hesitate to broadly extrapolate or interpret the results. I really hope that our study can be an inspiration for other people of how to conduct studies into work behavior changes in other fields, but also to give a foundation to start exploring more about the effects of harassment in science popularization and science communication, a field that, next to some of the main scientific disciplines, has not been investigated as deeply as of yet.